Welcome back. The heavily blue-collar, heavily Hispanic 29th Congressional District has been in Democratic hands for decades. Businessman and Republican Phillip Aronoff says it's time for that to change. He argues that folks on the east side have become victims of a dishonest social justice war that hasn't really helped anyone. This morning, he takes our hot seat. Phillip, thanks for taking the time to come in.
Greg, thanks for inviting me.
Hey, in your debate with Senator Sylvia Garcia, you strongly supported the Republican tax cuts as a job generator for District 29. What makes you so sure?
People don't work to pay taxes. People work for the benefits of their efforts, not for the benefits to pay other people's survivals. So they're going to work harder if they get to keep more of their money. It's being proven right now. That's why we have a 4% increase in the gross domestic product of the United States. That's why jobs are being created and why there's such a worker shortage.
So you've worked over on the east side in business. Do you believe that dropping regulation and a lower tax bill will actually generate more jobs in the 29th?
We've already proven it. The jobs are being created right now. There's a shortage of workers available for the pool that are needed, for the demand. So yes, I know it'll work. I've seen it. I watched it in the 1980s when we cut back on regulation. When the government makes so many regulations, a businessman can't work towards making profits.
Okay, immigration is a huge issue in this race. Senator Garcia says she favors abolishing ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, that's the law enforcement agency that does a tremendous job. These are wonderful people. These are family people. The false accusation of tearing children away from their families is just dishonest, because these people come in with their children sometimes they're not their children. They're using them for benefits or are trafficking in these children. But the law says you can't put the children in detention. Well, if we don't detain the parents when they come in illegally, then we're not a nation of laws anymore. And then we're going to be just like they are in all the Latin American countries that these people are freeing, where they're nations of caudillos, of the leaders, run by man. And then it's just who do you know and who can you support the most to move ahead, and you don't get to be an individual to move forward with your own skills and talents, but it's by connections.
Phil, if you went to Washington to represent the 29th, what ideas in terms of immigration reform would you bring to the table?
I wrote an article that the Houston Chronicle published back in July. I want to bring back the program that saved this country during World War II, when we had a tremendous shortage of labor. They had what was called the DACA program. There were some problems with DACA, but DACA 2 will fix those problems. But it's a way to give visas to these people so the kids don't have to sneak across the border to come here to work so they can feed their families, so they don't have to die in the deserts of Arizona in the back of a truck in Wharton, Texas. But it can be orderly, it can be reasonable, and they can get a visa if there's jobs available. If there's no jobs available, then they're not going to try and sneak in anyway, because there's no reason to get here. But if jobs are available, they can get a visa to come here. I laid out my program in the Houston Chronicle. It's also the article's up on my webpage.
Okay, critical difference between you and Senator Garcia.
There's a lot.
She has spent her entire career in public service. You have spent your entire career in private industry. Who's better equipped to solve problems, you think?
Well, she's just part of the system. She's part of the swamp. The voters fired her once from the county commissioner seat because they weren't happy with the job she's doing, and they were right. And if they bring her back in Congress, why would they hire her back? The reason I'm running for Congress at this point in my life is not because I've had a lifelong ambition to be a U.S. congressman, but I feel I can articulate better than most of the other people who've been around in that area of the city the issues of family values, which are the strong values that motivate these people. Whereas I find Sylvia Garcia and her party to be totally against the strong strength of the values that create families and hold families together. They want the government to be the father to everybody, not the father of the household.
Real quickly, in the debate, and I want to give you a chance to clear this up. You are bilingual. You learned Spanish.
Hablo español.
Okay, but you said you don't think that bilingual education is the productive way to go within our public schools, that it can cripple kids in terms of their educational process.
Absolutely. Bilingual education and studying two languages are two totally separate things. I speak two languages. My youngest child speaks 4 languages. I'm a big believer in speaking foreign languages. But when you bring somebody into a classroom and want to teach them the skills they need to move ahead, if you teach them in a foreign language, they're never going to learn the main language. My grandson is in the 5th grade, and this year the Consul General of France's daughter came into his classroom. She spoke no English, no bilingual education here, and by the end of the first semester she was fluent in English. By the end of the year you couldn't tell her from the other kids. But so that's how quickly these young students will be mainstreamed, and they won't be held back and out of the mainstream of society.
Phil Aronoff, thanks for taking our hot seat. We'll be watching on November 6th.
And early voting's October 20th it starts. Viva Texas. Thank you for having me.
All right. Just ahead, critics call it the rain tax. And November 6th, it's up for renewal at the ballot box. Should voters double down on Rebuild Houston? That's our topic after the break.